Hey everyone, welcome back to our Erie Christian Church Food for the Soul. This is our third time joining you. We're trying to get you some different recipes, and so the first week we had breaded chicken grilled cheese that you can find on our website, and then last week we had cake mix cookies, and those were really good for a good dessert. So tonight we decided that we would probably do like a side dish. So tonight we're making twice baked potato casserole. So the things that you'll need, make sure you have them before we get started. So hopefully you've already baked your 3 or 4 baked potatoes. We chose to do the red potatoes. They have a different taste, and it'll be really good for this recipe. You need salt and pepper. I put some in a bowl. You need some bacon or some bacon bits. I just got out an 16 ounce of sour cream. Instead of the 1.5 cups, it's up to you. We like a little less sour cream, but if you want to go ahead and do the 1.5 cups, you'll need a little bit bigger one, like a 24 ounce. We have some mozzarella cheese, and we also have some shredded cheddar cheese, and then we have our green onions. All right, so to get started, you need an 8x8 pan, because what we've just talked about, will only do an 8x8. If your family's bigger and you need a 9x13, obviously you'll just need to double that. So first of all, we want to grease our pan. So you can either use a spray, but we like to use butter. So my mom would just stick her fingers in the butter and butter the pan, which is totally fine. I don't like to make such a mess, so my mother-in-law, who is wonderful, taught me to take the wrapper of a stick of butter and just start rubbing it in there. And then your fingers don't get messy, but there's just enough on there to get it greased. And so I thought that was a really good idea. So we'll put that to the side. Next, we want to go ahead and cut up our potato. So hopefully they're baked and ready to go. And so I did mine in the oven, but you could have done it in the microwave or in your air fryer, whatever works best for you. So I'll go ahead and undo this one. And we want to cut them into 1-inch cubes. So the way I do that, sorry, I'll move that so you can see. I cut it right down the middle, and then I set it to the side, and then I cut it into like 4ths, 4 long strips. And then that just seems to make the cubes nicer for you. And then I turn it over just to cut it again. And then that gives us about 1-inch cubes. The thing I noticed with red potatoes, they're a little stickier than a regular russet potato, but that's okay. And if you only had russet potatoes, that'll work as well. We have some wonderful potato farmers in our area, the New Miller's Potato Farm and the Bars Potato Farm. So if by chance you can't get to the store, please go check them out. They have some wonderful produce and plants and flowers, and they have wonderful service, and they're just really great people. So please go check them out and support your local farmers. All right, finished cutting this up, and this does take a little bit of time, so I did try to skip a step and cut most of mine up beforehand, but just take your time and go ahead and cut those up. Please be careful not to cut yourself. That's always really important. So once they're in the greased pan and you've cut up one of them, you're gonna put one, maybe you only did 3, so you could do 1.5, or you could do 2, and I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of break them apart and throw them into the pan. They kind of stick, and it's twice baked. It's more of a casserole, so it's okay if they're not completely apart, but try to get as many apart as you can. There you go. And then, like I said, I kind of skipped a step because I didn't want you to have to wait for me. So I went ahead and cut the other 3 for me up. So I'm just going to add just a little bit of it so I have some for the top, because this is a layered casserole. So we're going to do half of it, and then we're going to turn around and just layer it. So I'll put a few more back in here. All right. So when it kind of fills the pan, and it depends on the size of your potato. My red potatoes were huge, and so I kind of have mine overflowing a little bit, but that's okay. So you just layer it like that, and then you just sprinkle on some salt and pepper. I have salt and pepper mixed already, but you just sprinkle some on, and you can use, your shaker or whatever works for you. If you're not supposed to have much salt, please make sure you don't put any in there. You can put the pepper in. It just gives an added flavor. All right, then after that, oops, not yet. We're supposed to put in some bacon bits. So I fried up bacon just the other day, and so I have this ready to go, and I'm gonna go ahead and chop that up. You can use this, you can use pre-cooked and already chopped up bacon, which is really nice, and it's quick and easy. But if you want fresh bacon, and I don't blame you, you can cook some up and then go ahead and cut it up. So I'll just do this as quick as I can. And so it calls for a ½ pound. So you can use as much or as little bacon as you want. And you just sprinkle it over the top of this. Let's see if you can see that. And like I said, trying to skip some steps, I did some up ahead of time. So as soon as you have that on there, wipe my hands off a little bit, we're gonna add the sour cream. And like I said, for this, it calls for a 1.5 cups. And I have my 16-ounce sour cream. And a cup is 8 ounces, so I guess I don't need all of this. So what I usually do is just kind of try to divide it with my spoon and then just kind of throw it on. It's kind of hard to mix because sour cream's kind of hard to work with, but it really is a nice thing to put on. So I'll just go ahead and spoon that over as well as you can. It's kind of hard with the potatoes, everything moves a little, but it's a casserole, so it's okay. All right, so we have some on there. And then you top it with mozzarella cheese and shredded cheddar cheese. I know that it tells you how much you should do, like a ½ cup of each. We like a lot of cheese, so we'll just put a little extra on there. But if you're not supposed to have a lot of cheese, please be careful not to put too much on. And then you can put the cheddar on as well, or you can put any cheese that works best for you, that you and your family like. Might as well be creative with it. And then after you have that first layer, you just go ahead and do the same thing again. So we'll add the potatoes first. And after they're cut up, it's so much easier in the bowl just to pour them in. And then we need salt and pepper. You could even probably add a little garlic to this if you'd like. We'll add the rest of our bacon. And then we need the sour cream again. So I said earlier that you would need 24 ounces of sour cream. And I was thinking about the full thing, and you definitely don't need that much sour cream. So a 16 ounce is plenty, or you can use a little less. And if you don't like sour cream, you don't have to use it. It just helps make it a little creamier. So we'll put that in there. And then we'll finish topping with the mozzarella and the shredded cheddar. And this will go into an oven. You bake at 350, and it says 20 to 25 minutes. I always like to go a little longer unless the cheese starts to get too dark. The potatoes are already done, so it's just kind of melting the cheeses together and getting that sour cream into the potatoes. All right. There we go, and then that will go into the oven. Before I do that though, I wanted to read our scripture for today. And so let me grab that for you. I've been challenged lately to do some standing firm. And so I looked up some scripture to kind of give me some encouragement, and maybe you've had to stand up for things that you believe in and that God has called you to and helped you out. Well, I found this scripture today and I thought it was really interesting, so I'd like to read it to you. It comes from Matthew chapter 24, and it's verse 13. But he who stands firm to the end will be saved. Oftentimes God calls us to stand firm in things that we believe in, whether it's for him or it's for his kingdom, and it's not always easy. And he often, the world wants us to not do that. They want to fight us. And it says in Romans 12:2 to not be like the world, to do the things that God calls us to do. And so if we stand firm, God will bless that. It may not be in the way that we want. It may not be the answers that we're looking for. But if God's going to lead us to it, he's going to equip us through it, and he's going to bring us through it on the other side. And so I think that in the world that we often, it's scary to stand firm. And sometimes you're standing alone. But I want you to be encouraged by God, because he takes care of you and he will give you what you need to stand firm. So keep seeking him, and maybe you have a great scripture that helps encourage you to stand firm, and I'd love to have you share that with us right now. Or maybe you have a story that you'd like to share where God called you to stand firm. Please put that on our Facebook page so we can share and encourage one another. All right. Well, I went ahead again and already made up one of these so you can see what it looks like all done. So I'm going to go ahead and take that out of the oven, and then I'll show you what we'll do with these green onions. Pot over. it's all done, it's nice and bubbly and melted. Not too much, which is nice. And then what you're supposed to do is take your green onion and always wash it first. And then you just chop the green part, the scallion part of it. And this just adds a lot of color and it adds some nice flavor. And I know my family really likes them. Then when you're all done, you just sprinkle them on top. And then you can serve this alongside of whatever main dish you're gonna have. Tonight at our house, we're gonna have lasagna. And so this will be a nice addition to our meal. So thanks so much for joining us. We hope you have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week when we make our main dish, bacon cheeseburger tater tot casserole. See you then.